Okay, so we did this event with Google this morning at Google, which was really cool. Google's got a beautiful office here in San Diego, and we had some clients show up and some prospects, and we were talking about all the latest new stuff that's happening in Google and just general Google advertising and advertising. And it got me thinking about what does a good advertising strategy look like in the modern age, and how has that changed from what advertising was like a couple years ago, and where's it headed in the future, right? It got me thinking that because that's what we covered. But the discussion was really, really interesting. So let me debrief a little bit and let me tell you a little bit about what we talked about. One, video in the next 3 years, 85% of what is consumed online as far as content is going to be video. So we're moving towards video really quick. We've got 3 editors here at Ignite, and it's something that we're doing for clients, and it's something that you should be thinking about because video is the fastest growing medium that people want to digest online. But it's not just commercials, right? The thing about the modern day consumer is if they're on any type of ad platform, they know that they can skip it. And most younger demographics are used to skippable ads. So you need to make something that's not skippable, especially if it's the first time that you are being introduced to a new audience. If you're being introduced to a new audience, a commercial isn't really the way to go. The way to go is a piece of content that's easily digestible, that gets somebody semi-interested in the brand, maybe teaches them something so that they feel somewhat indebted to you, so that that brings them some value, right? But what gets really complicated and really interesting is these new ways to target audiences, how to target audiences, and how targeting these audiences through different advertising plays a role within your specific business model. Okay. So with any type of customer, there's the time when they find out about your company for the first time, when they start researching, they start considering you. Sometimes it's even a step back where they find out about the industry for the first time because of a problem or a question that they have. They start researching, they find out about you, they do some competitive analysis, eventually they sign up, right? Once they sign up, what's their journey once they come inside the door, right? At that point, do they sign up for one service? Do you try to get them to do another service, another service, another service? What is the customer journey? If a customer drops off, is there anything that you do to try to retain them, get them back into the buying cycle? And that's different for every type of business model. So what's happening now is smart marketers are tailoring their advertising strategy around every step, from awareness to research to consideration, all the way down to this person is now a current customer, cross-selling them with advertising. When I say advertising, when I'm talking about Google, I mean the Google Display Network, I mean YouTube, I mean Google Search, and I mean Google Properties, right? So Google has a variety of different properties, and these properties allow them to collect a huge amount of data. So an example of that would be if you're in Chrome, they know your browsing behaviors. If you are cruising around the web and going to different areas, they're capturing that data. And what they do with this data is they bucket it together, and then they package it as something called an audience. When they have this audience, that audience gives them ability to advertise to people who are in this bucket. So one bucket would be just a simple pay-per-click ad. Somebody doing a search that qualifies them as a searcher, you serve them an ad. That's such an old school way, and it still works incredibly well, but now these audiences are becoming much more sophisticated. So now an audience might be somebody who's inside of an audience for somebody who's looking for a car. And the way that they qualify that might be they go to a variety of car review sites, and once they pass a certain threshold and hit a certain criteria, they know that that person's looking for a car, and then that becomes something called an in-market audience, right? And an in-market audience is a very good way to advertise. And not only can it be an in-market audience that you're advertising a video to or an ad to, but you can also layer that with different types of features, right? So if you don't just want somebody who's an in-market audience, but in addition to that, you want somebody who was in a certain demographic, in a certain income level, in a certain location, right? Certain age, they're in this location, they make this amount of money. You can advertise to that person in that way too. But then what gets really interesting is after you've advertised to them and then they come in and they have that first click, what's the sequence to get them into that buying cycle, and how many different ads do you actually serve them, right? So they come in, they click, right? And you've gotten that first click, they abandon, they're gone. Maybe you got their email address. If you did, you can target them that way. But if they hit a specific page, let's use the car example, they go to a specific model type of page, right? Say it's a Ford F-150 or something like that. You can serve them a series of different remarketing ads until they get further into that funnel and then eventually convert. And then once they convert, you can have a different type of advertising strategy. So the in-market audience ads are great, and there's a variety of different levels of these audiences, and each one of these audiences can be layered with different types of demographic information. And there's even a new audience that came out that our clients have specific access to that most other agencies do not, because we are a Google Premier partner within a pilot program with Google where we meet with them once a week. They come to our offices, and these ones are custom intent, where these people are even further qualified than the in-market audience that I was just talking about. These people, we really know that they're about to buy, and they're getting even further down the funnel. So key takeaways. Audiences are critical. I didn't even talk about, using your own website audiences and slicing and dicing those, something I do for Ignite on occasion. So I'll give you a quick example before I do this conclusion. But on Ignite, we get about 90,000 visitors a month through organic SEO and our digital marketing. That's up from about 30,000 a month earlier this year because we pump out a ton of content, do a ton of content marketing. I can take that audience and I can go find people who have similar qualities to those who have visited my site. I can replicate that 90,000 and find 1.6 million people who have those same qualities and then run ads to them. And I can slice and dice my audience on Ignite in any segment that I want based off of any type of content. So that to me is really exciting, is understanding the visitor and then hitting them within that journey and having all those things work together, right? And not even just the paid side, having your email strategy align with that too. So at the end of the day, digital marketing and marketing in general, where is your customer spending time? They're spending much more time now online than they are offline like they used to be. Where exactly are they? When do they go there? At what point during the journey? And how do you further them down the path? And this is something that we'll do with clients. We'll literally just draw it on a whiteboard. And by doing that, you can have a much more effective strategy, but you kind of have to know what you're doing. So final takeaways that I just wanted to bring up in this brief kind of off-the-cuff video is that video creative and the buying cycle and hitting people in a very strategic, sequenced approach with the right amount of ads displayed at the right amount of time so that it has the right sequence and really gets people to buy. And then the final part, in addition to that, is bringing that all together at the end of the day with a great web experience. So many people don't take the time to optimize their site for conversion rate optimization. We're using this one example in the meeting at Google where we had been working with one of our multi-location clients. We had taken their mobile site, which they had felt was a very good one, and we added just a few buttons to the top of it. One to contact us now, and another one to learn more above the fold on mobile on every single location page, which increased their conversions on those pages 91%. And not only did it make the organic traffic convert better, but the paid traffic, the email traffic, all the different verticals of traffic that we're running to the website. So those are just some general thoughts for you, kind of off the cuff, but I thought that was interesting. I just wanted to get that out there. Have a great day and keep up the great work with your digital marketing.